Welcome to the Pink Parlor, dolls, divas, and diamonds. It is plush here. It is safe here. So, girls, come on and take a seat. And let me say, this space is dedicated to women, women issues, women values, our truths, and life lessons. And most definitely, we serve up reality with class. For tonight's conversation, we will be discussing the Belle Collective. Yes, my dears, those Southern Belles of Jackson, Mississippi are back with season 6, and you will need to clutch your pearls. Carlos Kane, I ain't gonna say Carlos King, Carlos Kane came in swinging with this first episode. I know I may be a little behind. Season 2, episode 2, has already come out, but I wanted to take my time and give you a different kind of flavor. Now, this parlor is dedicated to my ladies, but gentlemen, you are welcome. But make sure you are mindful, make sure you are demure, and make sure you are respectful. Otherwise, I'm going to have to call in Jeffrey to escort you out. That's right. That's right. Can we give it up for Dr. Marie Monroe this episode? Yes, I'm talking about a round of applause. I have a feeling that Dr. Marie is going to be the diamond this season. Yes, I'm in my Bridgerton era. I really do. What y'all think? She this season comes across as vivacious. She's happy. She's dating. Marie is doing all of the things. Yes, Marie is doing all of the things. She is definitely a bright one. She's shining bright. And I'm really happy for Marie. I don't know, it may be too soon to tell, but if we had to pick a diamond for this season, who's stepping out, who's bright, who's evolving, who would y'all choose? Who's on the right track? Marie has my vote thus far. Yes, ladies, season 6 of the Belle Collective is back. And if you didn't know, you might have been on the rock, but don't worry, we're going to get you caught up here in the parlor. I am just really compelled to chime in. You know, I have been in these chats and comments quite a bit. I might as well get on here and give my own personal take as well. Um, I really believe an essential part of womanhood is friendship and even learning how to master enemies. So, what I appreciate about this show is that it is still organic and it has a down home feel as they kind of navigate life, marriage, motherhood, businesses, friendship, and frenemies. So, you know, we're seeing some relatable issues, which is good. It's refreshing. Some of the responses are relatable, some of them aren't, but I digress. But just let me say, um, some of them do seem to be static characters, if I may say so. It's no real evolution from one season to the next. I have been watching since season 1. This show and Love and Marriage Huntsville were two of my favorites, so you know. But it's a few of y'all that need to take notes from Dr. Marie Monroe. Okay, she's living and she's twirling. I'm not gonna give too much away up front. We got time for that, but I'm just saying. Nonetheless, I enjoyed the show, always have. And look at these ladies. Look at them. A seat at the table. They look good. They look beautiful. However, there is one thing that I am concerned about. On this show, there was initially a level of low that it seemed like the ladies wouldn't stoop to. And each year, it feels like that boundary is being pushed. I say that because the attacks on marriages, the attacks on businesses and womanhood in general. And this year, we're going to look at Mandy. I'm going to call her maybe Messy Mandy. We got to keep an eye on her. We're going to call her maybe Messy Mandy. But I'm going to say this. Tisha, my dear, bless your heart. Bless your heart. I'm gonna have to pause until I see what your responses are in the later episodes. But if y'all wives don't start getting these helpers together about your marriage, and if your marriage is down the drain and you sick of him anyways, there needs to be some gathering about your personal respect as a woman. I might be done with this marriage. He might be a cheater or what have you. But it needs to be some clear boundaries set as far as women having to respect other women and women respecting wives. Some of y'all go too far. You go too far and you stay too doggone long. Let's just go ahead on and tell the truth. But we'll break that down later on. What I do want to say is you have to make it clear that if you want to try to play around with my marriage, if my spouse is helping you do that, as a woman, you have to put your foot down and let them know who you won't play around with is me. Okay, so we may be bells, we may be in the pink parlor, but we can get ugly in the parlor. Don't make me take my lace gloves off if I need to. If we need to swing that way to help a scalawag recognize. And I'm not calling maybe Messy Mandy a scalawag, but I'm just saying all of this attack on wives and trying to humiliate wives because of what their husbands have done. Some of y'all don't understand that you really can't be released from a marriage on your own. It's a spiritual release. That's why Melody talks about God said go. And then you have a legal release. And then in the physical realm, there's a process of being released. But some of y'all wouldn't know that because you ain't never been married, never been committed to nothing, not even yourself. Y'all gonna get up off of these wives. Cheers, ladies. Cheers. Let's go to the next thing. Episode 1 of season 6 open with scene 1, and we have Marie Monroe rolling into a drive-through, and she is not getting food, baby, but she getting some things that you can use to accentuate your beauty and eat, sisters, and slay. And it's none other than that of Goddess Lynch. I think, this is a level of maturity we were all waiting for. The last reunion, I feel like it went way wrong, way fast. So, I mean, just let me go back to Goddess Lens. Imagine being able to pull up, hi, welcome to Goddess Lens. May I take your order? Yes, I'd like to order a number 1, the 3-piece, 24-inch bundle special, 1B30, lace closure for the bust down, for a dramatic flair. Imagine being able to do that. I mean, how innovative is that, Latrice? And imagine if you're in between hairstyles, right? You're taking your protective style down, or you just got a braid down. You don't even have to get out of the car and, someone sees you at your words, baby. You can just come on by, get your hair oils, your bundles, your unit, and go on about your way. Latrice gonna do 2 things: look good and make a coin. I like Latrice. Baby, they out here towing cars. I'm trying to see what's going on. Don't tow mine, baby. I got my new tags. Anyways, Latrice, she brings to me a touch of Hollywood to the hood. And what I mean is she talks about different communities that she was building her business in, what she was looking at. And it seems like she does it right at home in the areas that need access to quality things. And I'm here for it. Anyways, her and Marie, they share a bit of fodder, and I'm eating it up because as 2 ladies, 2 female entrepreneurs, who are innovative in their crafts, yet they kind of have different walks in their personal lives. I'm glad to see them come together on common ground because you'd be surprised what you could really learn from somebody else, And now that a lot of the noise, the mess, Letitia, is out of the way, I hope we get to see a relationship develop organically. They don't have to be best friends, but I think it's okay to be amicable. And with so many shows that show or demonstrate minority and African American women in a negative light, as though we can only argue, fight, and cuss to work through issues. This is refreshing. And that goes back to what I was saying. At one point, there was a low that the Bells didn't go to. So I'm glad to see them turn on their Southern charm. Okay. And there's a way to deal with my frenemy, or a way to put our issues aside. That's needed. It needs to be seen. Now, Marie further extends an olive branch to Latrice and invites her to her upcoming birthday party. But, Latrice explains that her business needs her, and that basically, she wouldn't be able to come, which is understandable. And I can appreciate that. Let me pause for a minute. This is a teachable moment. Can we normalize and appreciate people who dedicate time to their craft? And can we appreciate and normalize friends or acquaintances that respect those boundaries? They respect and understand the need to dedicate yourself to perfecting your craft. I don't think it makes you a bad friend if you need to step away sometimes to take care of business. I can't show up as a good friend. I can't party, have a good time if I haven't taken care of home, if I haven't taken care of my business first. And I say that because my first year in my profession, like I told my buddies, I can't really hang out like that. We may not be able to go to the lounge or try the new restaurants, and it's not going to be that busy. You don't have to be at that job that long. And blah. Yes, I do. I'm learning my craft. I'm studying my standards. I have to get my presentations together. I have deadlines. Now I'm in a professional licensed career. I'm not just at a everyday routine run-of-the-mill job. And I think some people couldn't quite understand that, or felt like I was acting funny. But not only was I in my field, but in the middle of the pandemic happened, right? So I've always been pretty good with technology, but I had to learn. I had to shift. I had to pivot right on the spot. So everything I was doing in real time, in real person, I had to learn how to shift those things and do that in a digital space, right? I think sometimes, especially in younger generations, any generation, people don't understand the importance of Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter. When you get a chance, I want you to look up Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter. To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under the heaven. Sometimes you can't take your friends or acquaintances along with you for the journey because everybody doesn't understand the sacrifice and the toil that it takes to succeed. And sometimes people don't understand, if you're not successful in your personal life, in your independent endeavors, it's hard to be a good quality friend, because the things that you care about that motivates you, the things that gives you intrinsic value, is not growing. You feel static. Some people, they don't feel themselves if they don't look a particular way. But I feel like I don't feel myself, or I don't feel as valuable, or I'm going to be a Debbie Downer, a cloud, so to speak, when my business life isn't on track. When I feel like I know I have more potential, but I can't quite figure out how to activate it, how to go forward in those type of ways. And it can cause me to retreat, or I have to say, no, I got to dig in. I don't have time for playtime, but that doesn't mean I don't love you as my friend. That doesn't mean I'm not going to be here for you. What emergency? What? Here I come. Girl, pack and move. Friend, what? Let's go. But some of the outside stuff can become noise when you know the things that you have asked God for, the opportunities you've asked God for, that requires so much dedication. But I really like that moment. And I liked how Marie respected what she had to say. But, then again, that is a conversation between two very successful entrepreneurs, and I enjoyed it. Now, scene 2 gets a bit spicy as Letitia is in her lingerie, laying out rose petals and setting the mood all in the daytime. What some people, maybe our men, think housewives do all day. Cook, clean, and heels, and get ready for the grand finale, which may or may not be so grand, depending on your boat. Okay, y'all read between the lines, Parlor. I'm just saying. Anyways, I think it is appropriate for a wife to encourage intimacy, spontaneity in your marriage. But let me ask y'all, do you think this is enough for Glenn? For Glenn to stay home and be faithful? Is Glendale the monogamous type, or is he only faithful in front of your face, so you better not turn your back for too long? I don't know. Maybe some of the backlash in these YouTube streets that Letitia is receiving from this scene is because some of it feels like it stems from maybe a place of blame towards her. What you're not doing to fulfill my needs as a wife. This is what I need. This is what I require. Instead of what we need from each other mutually. I could be wrong, but that's where I am with it for now. Rub me down in some hot oil, baby. Hey, that's all I'm thinking when I hear this scene. I'm also thinking, I hope it's a real quick stopping point. But anyways, Glenn is up here laid out on the table in the living room, and Letitia is actually rubbing him down. And, it's like he's King Tut. And, it could be a sweet and genuine moment, but both of them go and mess it up. Both of them go and mess the moment up. It immediately goes back into a clown circus as they discuss masculinity and femininity, and divine feminine energy. Can I just say, to a certain extent, I am just exhausted on this topic, on these two words, and any synonyms associated with them. The ideology is so overextended to situations that it has absolutely nothing to do with. I'm serious. Like, in some cases, yes, but y'all doing too much. It's too much reaching. Masculine and feminine. Just be good people. Just be moral people. Godly. Do what's right and go sit down. But anyways, it's very surface and superficial when it comes to addressing marital challenges they face. So I feel like, hey, let's call a spade a spade. Glenn, you have, in my opinion, some deep-rooted Southern values that encourages a man to do as he wants to, as he will, as long as he comes home and provide financially. You prefer a specific gender roles. So just go ahead and say exactly what it is that you want, which I feel like he has. And Tisha, in my opinion, you like being a housewife until you saw that your foundation was shaken, and there was a bit of uncertainty in your marriage, and that can threaten your financial security. If you can't trust your husband, now you're also worried about the finances. Based on what we've seen on the show. Now, I don't know these people personally, so I'm only talking about what's presented on the show. I feel as though we're women, and we're going to talk about the real deal. You had to scramble, so to speak, to kind of get back to yourself as an earner in case he did something stupid to embarrass you. Now, not just between the two of you, but, you have to deal with it on national TV. So to him, it feels like you're being masculine. But no, you're trying to figure out what's going to be next. I have me and a child to care for now if I do have to leave. And if we go back to a few seasons past, we do see where Letitia was trying to get a home. Marie was signing for it. And she was thinking about, what all she was going to have to do and provide for her son. It was exciting, but also a scary change. So I feel like some of what we're seeing now with her juggling different careers, getting her enterprise started. A woman leaves in her mind first, right? So sometimes we talk about she needs to leave. Why is she still there? She needs to hurry up. A woman has to process things. And once we have processed it mentally and kind of have a strategy, particularly when children are involved, then the physical will follow behind it. So some of these different enterprises, different jobs, different that, I think that's just her scramble of trying to put her own foundation together, because if it comes down to having to leave him because the cheating and the disrespect won't stop, she'll have something to go to and not have to come back, because that's who you have to depend on. Do y'all get what I'm saying? So yeah, everyone is not able to flip their pain in the profit like Melody. Melody was an anomaly, a God fearing, faith based anomaly. Do you hear me? So I'm praying for Letitia in that regards, that she gets to make the decision that she wants to make as a wife. And if she chooses to go the way Melody goes, I hope she can do so seamlessly. I hope she can turn her pain into profit. Okay? I believe some of the correct conversations they should have been having while Glenn was laid up and buttered down and getting rubbed down on that table was about being broken, being guarded emotionally and spiritually, being in emotional distress because of your partner's choices. Just a woman's disposition is it's not going to be warm and welcoming when you violate what is most sacred to a wife. And I'm talking about specifically trust, family, her home. If you can't feel safe at home and the enemy is in your bed, what do you expect a woman to be? So what you're calling masculine energy, sir, you created it. I don't know. This conversation here was very superficial. We're not gonna blame stuff on being masculine, feminine, and all that. We're gonna talk about the root of it. Sometimes we make decisions and we take action that have consequences, and those consequences hurt everyone else. It permeates through your family. That's all I'm saying. Letitia teases us with a new Belle. It's pretty much like a soft introduction. Her name is Carrie Paul, representing the Gulf Coast. I wonder what is Letitia's obsession with attaching herself to the quote unquote it girl. The it girls, as she seems to describe them. For me, first it was Marie. And then she kind of started to align herself or even introduce Akeisha. Now this season, she's introducing and aligning herself to Carrie Paul. And for a minute, I was like, well, maybe Letitia is a producer or a co-producer or executive producer or something, to where maybe she's the way to introduce or bring in the new ladies. But based on my research, she's not. So I don't know. It's something about that piqued my attention. I think I've heard her give that type of expression and disclaimer before. And not only does she say she's a it girl, she's always been an it girl to me. And mind you, there's nothing wrong with looking up to other women, paying homage to women who are successful. And there's nothing wrong with having a mentor, but it's something else behind it. And I'm gonna put my finger on it. But what she said following that comment is really what drew me in, when she was like, oh, well, I get to debut my new, more feminine self. What you mean, Tisha? What you mean? Listen, Linda, before y'all get to laughing at Cedric's house, I bet you it's paid for. I bet you it's paid for or it's inherited. What y'all think? And now I understand the chatter in the streets. Okay, these digital streets or YouTube streets about Cedric's house is not the size of the home. It's about how well you take care of what you have. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be a multi-million-dollar home, but you do have to take care of what you have. And I think some of the backlash or the dissent that you're hearing about the house that was featured on Belle Collective that's supposed to be Cedric's is that it doesn't look taken care of. It doesn't look well kept, even from the outside. You know what I'm saying? And, I want to talk about that. Let's talk about that in our minority communities. Taking care of our homes, taking care of our neighborhoods, doing what it is that we need to do to increase equity in our property value. Now, that is a nice home. All it needs is a little bit of TLC, little paint, nice little porch decorations, power wash the stairs. Get you a little landscape. Baby, if I had that house and that house was paid off, I didn't have to worry about a mortgage. Do you hear me? Those poles, I would get those redone. I'm country. I would have me a storm door. If I was going to keep a regular door like that. Baby, have that driveway paved around. Get a beautiful landscape. It's a blessing to have a home. It's a blessing to be a homeowner. I don't know his situation. Like I said, it is a nice home, but it needs a bit of TLC. And, we just expect our men to be able to make those type of things happen. It just looks like it's no love. You don't care. And if you don't care about your home, what else are you not caring about? Cedric, we're not asking you to put on for the camera, okay? But Cedric, we are your company. We're your company, okay? Y'all know how our mothers and grandmothers are or were when it came to company coming over. And heaven forbid if they were some church folk coming over, what they tell you? You present the best. You bring out the best china, the best meals. Cedric did us like, y'all know y'all way around here. Y'all know where the kitchen is and the restroom is here. Go on there and help yourself. Cedric, that's how you did us. Again, we don't need you to put on for the camera. We like down home folks. But down home country folk can take care of their belongings, particularly their home. Boy, if you don't get your ass up and clean that house up and cut the damn grass, we company. Marie and Zuri proceed into the house. And for all of you that may be new, Zuri is her daughter. She's grown up a bit. Very beautiful. They gone on in the house. And so Carlos Kane, y'all ain't right. They show the kitchen. Now, I wouldn't necessarily call this kitchen area nasty, but I would say, Cedric, again, the cameras are coming in. The world is coming into your house, right? We are your company. Get your ass up and make company welcome. I was trying not to cuss, but when I looked at that kitchen, my bottom lip just balled up and I could just see myself turning like Cedric was on the side of the couch with me. Like, if you don't get your ass in here and get this up. Marie and Zuri are taken aback. Not so much Zuri, but definitely Marie. And all I could think about was, man, oh man, do he need a woman's touch? It's a lot of men that need a woman's touch, but don't deserve it and have not earned it. Zuri explained that it's always messy. And yes, Mom, it's always cluttered like that. It's probably some sour, spoiled milk in there too. It just looks like Cedric drops in and drops out. Come in for work, quick shower, nap, and he's back on out the door. I don't know if he's at the academy, across the country, out of the country, who knows? But it doesn't look like a home. It definitely doesn't look or feel like a home. You just in and out. And that kind of makes me think about what Marie was saying in earlier seasons about him just traveling and just on the go and across country. Marie, look at the red flags. But the real question is, what does this teach our daughters about dating? Healthy relationships and expectations and boundaries, right? We love our reality shows just for a bit of entertainment, a distraction from our own lives. But sometimes we have to look a little bit deeper than what we see on the surface. And you can kind of see how reality can be applied to your own reality, right? Let's go deep in the parlor for a minute, ladies. Seriously, I want y'all to get in the comments, get in the chat. What were you taught about dating versus marriage? How does a woman show up or present herself when it comes to dating versus marriage? What are your expectations? What were you taught should be your expectations when you are dating versus marriage? Were you prepared for the dating world and all that comes with men? The good, the bad, the ugly, the games? What were you taught, ladies? I want you to look at this clip and look at this situation. Put yourself in the shoes of beautiful Uzuri and put yourself in the shoes of Marie, the ex-wife who may be circling the block. What were you taught? What lessons come to mind to help you with a situation like this? What would you want your daughter to do if she faced a situation like this? Should she clean a man's place that she's dating? Because remember, him and Marie are divorced, right? Something tells me Cedric does not care about the mess that he makes because a woman will fix it for him. Somebody will fix it. Did y'all catch that? Think about it. Something tells me Cedric doesn't care about the mess that he makes because a woman or somebody will fix it for him. He ain't got to worry about it. Marie, in my opinion, if you are going to date him and you want change from him, there has to be expectations that you got to set from the beginning. And you got to have consequences if he does not follow through or meet those expectations. For example, the home is supposed to be welcoming to company, to you, female company, particularly at his big age. Otherwise, as a consequence, leave. Remove your presence. You don't even have to have a knockdown, drag out about it. Leave him. Give him time to correct the mess he created. How many years did it take for us to learn this lesson in Life Divas? Give a man space to be a man. Give a man space so that you have time to observe what type of man that he is. Sometimes we don't give them enough space to see if they can lead or be head of household because we're in the way. We doing everything. Get out of the way so that you can see what it is that you're working with, right? You can't tell what he comes with as a man because you're always the savior. You got the savior complex. It's no way in Sam Hill hell they should have walked into that type of mess. It's no way, especially if you knew they were filming or if you were going to have them over. You should have already had that place presentable and welcoming. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to have a luxurious home, but you do have to get up and clean and take care of things. And really, I feel like that's how you show honor to God, by taking care of what you have, what you're blessed with. If you can't take care of the lot that you have, how you going to take care of me as a woman? How you going to take care of a household that we live in together? You're not. You about to put me through the same situation I divorced from. And in walks Cedric. He a smooth operator, and in his blue suede shoes, sunglasses. He's not worried about a thing because Marie is there to pick up after him, to pick up the pieces. Anyways, they move on to the couch and they really get into some adult conversation. I enjoyed the conversation between them. And Marie winds up inviting Cedric to her birthday party, and he tells her he's going to try, but she lets him know that she does have options. She's not only dating him exclusively, which I think is a pretty good honest conversation. So the scene pretty much ends. After that, we're left with a little bit of a cliffhanger to see if he's actually gonna come, and we kind of want to know who Marie is gonna bring. In scene 4, we have our sunshine Belle, Selena. To me, Selena is absolutely beautiful. She's a beautiful woman. And she also has a lot of substance and depth to her, from what I can see. Of course, I've been watching Selena since our Bring It days. Truly, it seems like she's been through hell and back. She's had to weather a few storms, and she's dealt with quite a bit of death. And I wonder if she's even had a chance to grieve and process her pain, especially with the passing of her son. From what I can hear, there was some type of terrible violent accident or incident to occur. And then on top of that, recently she describes just a horrible, horrible car accident to which she wasn't a driver, but she was struck on her passenger side, and the accident was bad enough to cause Selena to have a seizure. And we know from Bring It how bad her seizures can be, how severe. So we're definitely praying for her health. We want to send you health and healing your way, Selena. Now she does seem to be in emotional and physical recovery. It seems to me that Selena she's at a crossroads. She's at a crossroads that you get to when you go through life-changing traumatic events, or you experience some type of medical scare that really causes you to reevaluate everything and everyone around you. You know, you really begin to seek your purpose and real happiness when you understand just how precious and how fragile life can be. I say this because I was wondering why Selena was seemingly just now expressing her emotions or concerns about Mike. But as I go back and I look at the scene again with a fresh eye and from a different perspective, it seems like Selena is kind of operating from a place of deep reflection. What does everything and everyone mean in her life? And I can respect a woman who wants a meaningful relationship. And I appreciate the fact that Selena approaches him in a gentle way, but in some scenes you'll see where she's firm, but she's gentle. It's not argumentative. But I can appreciate that she wants depth, she wants security. And I think if you've been in a relationship or a marriage that may have failed before, you tend to proceed with a lot of caution on top of all of the loss she's experienced with loved ones. So I could see why Selena is operating with a bit of caution, right? I could see why Selena seems to be moving from a place of internal reflection. And we all need that at times. Now, as their conversation continues, we see Selena really details some of the expenses associated with the wedding. And she talks about her concerns with Mike about his spending, about 2 large purchases he's made without basically having a conversation with her. And so, y'all look at the screen. Look at Mike. I was checking out Mike's expression, and I see why they call him Money Mike. Let's call him Money Mike, okay? We'll coin him that. Mike, to me, he looks unbothered. He's unbothered, Mike. She's going on and on, as we typically do, about the money, all of the expenses, videographers, photographers, the venue, the dress. And Mike is just sitting there like, who's worried? $8,000. That's all? That's all you worried about? Seriously. I have heard a bit of YouTube chatter saying that he looks nervous. He's uptight. He might be uptight about the money or the spending, but I beg to differ. Mike was giving, in my opinion, if money is the problem, it's not a problem, baby. It ain't a problem. Look how he's looking like, okay, and spend it. It's just money. Let me know. Let me know, Parlor Room. What do y'all think? And let me get y'all's opinion on this. If your beau, your man, your boo, your honey, if he pulls in the most income, particularly as an entrepreneur, he's self-sufficient, he's a leader, Does he need your permission to invest money? I'll say that again. If you are in a relationship or marriage with a man whom you consider an entrepreneur, you consider him as highly self sufficient, he's a leader, okay? He can lead your household. Does he need your permission to invest or spend money? Do you need to be in the know? Y'all talk to me. Let me know. What's your take on that? Let's debate and let's do it respectfully. What y'all think? Does Mike need her permission to invest in a vehicle, an 18-wheeler truck that may accrue more income? Does it? Does it make a difference if your money is not combined? You both have your separate earnings prior to marriage. What do you expect from a man that you deem as a man who's a boss? Would this same explanation be required if it were a Drake, a Warren Buffett, or a 50 Cent? Let's talk as women. How should we be approaching the money conversations, the expenses, the revenue, the income of your household? What kind of advice would you give a young woman that's dating or engaged, or even our ladies that are married? How should money, financial conversations be handled, especially before you get married? And if you are marrying a man who is self sufficient, he's a leader, and he is a provider, how do you handle those money questions? This couple right here, boy, I tell you what, they have got to be probably my favorite couple. They are the right amount of messy, right amount of successful, the right amount of love. They really read well on the screen, in my opinion. I know they have their challenges, all relationship and marriages do, but I don't know. I like Latrice and Cliff. They are a clown. This couple here, I mean, they just do it big. They win big, fight big, love big. If we gonna do it, we gonna go all out type of couple. I can get behind that. Latrice and Cliff, they've been working hard to find a new executive chef. They've got Taste up and running. And most of us probably know by now that the restaurant industry is one of the most cutthroat, challenging businesses you can have. And it definitely needs your full attention. I can truly say I'm so proud of them. Despite all of the drama you may see on the TV, we have to make sure we shout people out and we encourage people when they take that step towards financial excellence, right? They are definitely contributing factors to the economic growth and attraction to Jackson, Mississippi. They bring a bit of Hollywood to the hood, so to speak. Taste online, if you go to Google, they do have almost a 4-star rating. From what I can see, the prices are reasonable. The ambiance seems rich and vibrant. But of course, with success comes challenges. Before we dive into those challenges, I do want to acknowledge the fact that they've had a brilliant idea to come up with condos to add to the top tier of Taste. I'm just wondering if you're able to book online, sort of like Airbnb style, or will you need to sign maybe a lease, 6 months, a year? How's that going to work? Do you book through the Taste website, which is a beautiful website, by the way? These are the details that I would like to be able to see on the show. Sometimes they feed you so much drama, they miss out on the critical elements of their. There is just something so gratifying about seeing minorities thrive, particularly economically. That just gives the rest of us that extra boost, that bit of encouragement. It's refreshing.
to see minorities thrive and to build something from the ground. Now, back to the challenges that seem to also come along with your success. With every win, there's an L somewhere hanging around. Cliff has been accused of staying in the lofts or the condos and not coming home regularly. What I can appreciate is that they are really being transparent and honest and laying it all out on the table. Yes, business is booming, but there is another element to marriage beyond financial success. And right now, in that other element or that other space, we are stalled. We've hit a roadblock, so to speak. So I think it takes a lot of guts, a lot of strength, to really be able to admit that to your partner and in a public space. I like that Latrice is engaging Cliff in the tough conversations and making it known what she is uncomfortable with and what she's comfortable with. How long does it take for us ladies to usually find our voices or our confidence in relationships and really express truly how we feel, right? Just think about, what was your breaking point? What was your turning point? Or what age did you finally find your voice and you were able to tell your partner, no, this is what I'm putting my foot down with. I feel comfortable with this. This is not what I feel comfortable with. This is not how I see our relationship going. I like that Latrice is not ignoring like that internal sense, that internal will, that intuition that women have. I like that she's not ignoring that voice that's gnawing at her, and she's making it clear to Cliff, and she's really standing her ground on what she's feeling about him staying in the lofts and not coming home allegedly on a regular basis like a married person should. I don't think she did anything wrong. I think it was a necessary conversation because all too often women can be pushed to overlook that internal voice, okay, that intuition, that Holy Spirit, that discernment. If you can tap into that spirit of discernment, it can save you a lot of anguish, right? Or it can prepare you for what is to come. And in walks trouble, trouble. Mandy is Latrice's best friend who has recently gone through a divorce and she is back on the market for love, honey. Now, y'all see Cliff up here. He reminds me of that uncle at the barbecue with the red cup that just says whatever is on his mind. As Amanda is catching up with the Rogers, she lets them know about her. You know, hook me up if you know somebody. Here go Cliff. Okay. Cliff Cliff was like, I can't help you if I don't know what you want. You want a boy, girl, dog, cat? When I tell you I fell out to laughing, I said, ooh, Cliff, you on TV. Sit down. Older men do not give a damn. It is what it is. They gonna say what they feel. You take it or leave it. They are not for the weak. They don't care what they say. Okay? It is what it is. When you look at this scene, what stands out to you visually, aesthetically? Why is Amanda sitting in between a husband and a wife? Why is she sitting in the middle? Why? I don't know. That stood out to me so much, and it reads so many things, and not necessarily anything raunchy or illicit, but it speaks volumes about boundaries, how seriously you take your marriage. Amanda, go sit over there on the side of your best friend. Don't sit in the middle. And as aloof and unaware as many of you guys think Cliff may be, or you can't understand what it is that he's saying, when he does talk, you better pay attention. Because not only did he make that little comment with what you're looking for, just pay attention to other little comments that he made. And I'm gonna tell you this: men tell us the truth right to our faces. Right to our faces. But it's up to us to be quiet, to pay attention, and to really receive. It's finally time for Marie's birthday party. Are y'all this dry all the time, or is it for TV? That's what I kept thinking. Selena is sitting here nagging Money Mike, and Money Mike is looking like, okay, I'm gonna trade you in. Keep on. It really gets to a point to where men understand action and not words. That goes back to consequences and boundaries to achieve a desired result, right? After you have had time to analyze things yourself. And do y'all have to do this at Marie's party? God doggone. I mean, I can appreciate the authenticity, but this is Marie's party. I'm just I'm just at an age now. If you are entertaining a gentleman, you have to decide why he's in your life and enjoy that season for you. Don't give him serious rewards if he's not giving you a serious relationship. If you just want to date socially for laughter over drinks, that is where my energy will start and end. Preserve your energy. Instead of Selena making the most of the party, when I look up, Selena's up going to Letitia for advice on her relationship. I like you, Letitia, but that's a terrible decision. It's a terrible decision for multiple reasons. For one, go back to that scene and pay attention to Letitia's countenance and the energy. That energy did not give inviting or caring or genuine at all. Just go back and pay attention to something was off. It was as if she was kind of preparing or bracing herself for bad news. She didn't know what was coming from Selena, or there was already something wrong. Maybe something occurred prior to her getting to the party. Selena, don't make extra problems for yourself that you don't need or you don't have. Um, that's a bad idea because when Latrice opened up to her about some of, I also believe that when you involve other people in the affairs or matters of your relationship, sometimes they don't know how to isolate that particular situation and wait for an invite for anything else. They kind of seem or act like they're a bit entitled to insert themselves in your relationship more often. It's not just a one-time deal. You rarely see that. To me, you'll be better off if you had a male best friend that could offer you insight and wisdom on a male perspective, similar to a brother, a big brother. And of course, it's someone that you haven't crossed any inappropriate boundaries with. But some of y'all are so concerned with sex, you miss out on the beauty of relationships with people across different spectrums, right? The type of wisdom that you can gain from communicating with qualified people. I'm gonna say that. Selena, I'm no therapist. That's not what I'm licensed in. But life has taught me you cannot solicit advice from toxic people. Her problems are not your problems. They may have been married the longest, but tenure means nothing when quality is sacrificed. Peace of mind, trust. I used to like to share intimacies with girlfriends and sometimes acquaintances, but I've seen where that has added to your problems. Moving on to something more interesting. In walks Martin. And the ladies make a big deal about Martin and Cedric, her ex-husband, being there. Um, why do y'all go to somebody else's event just to gossip about them? Why do you go somewhere just to talk about the person that's hosting the event? Stay at home. If you're going to be crabby, stuck up, have a bad attitude, just stay at home. Don't even come. Don't ruin the vibe. If it were a club or a nice little swanky lounge, picture this, packed with people, particularly eligible bachelors and gentlemen, Marie would be free to frolic and flirt. So, what's the big deal now at her intimate birthday party? You know, you don't know what the gentlemen are doing in their free time. And as we come to learn, Cedric has caused her a lot of pain in the past. Marie explains that the mistresses that Cedric entertained tortured her. They were her torturer. They tormented her. And that's deep. That is a deep internalized pain. And it really gives insight on where she was emotionally and mentally. And in previous seasons, we called Marie mean. She's just so hateful. But in actuality, she was in pain. And to hear her describe how how someone else's decisions, interactions, engagements, entanglements. That's what I'm looking for. That's the word. How their entanglements led to emotional turmoil. To say something tormented you, you have to be long suffering in pain. And I would not be able to trust Cedric again. And Martin, he also comes with his own baggage, wife and children across seas. I'm glad she's out on the playing field. I just wish that the roster was a little bit more elevated, upgraded, but that's okay. We all have to dip our toes in the water and get out there some kind of way, with the training wheels. So Marie, girl, smile, own your joy, dance, and frolic up. Okay? I'm happy for Marie. I'm happy to see Marie happy. Um, the YouTube chatter I don't like is in regards to Martin's race. He came in there extremely respectful. Of course, showed up as a man, specifically looking people in the eyes as he spoke to him. He shook hands, he was kind, and all he got in return was women making fun of him. That is why some of us continue to date the the same, the same type of dusties. You never break the mold of moving beyond a dusty because of your own mentality. Irregardless of race, you need to pay attention to a person's character. Some of you guys are just so aggressive and rude towards men to their faces, especially men that are kind or kind of seem to have a kind nature, a softer nature. They use their gentle voice with you, and it's just like y'all just try to come in and dominate and bully somebody. Ma'am, at the end of the day, no matter how small you think he is, that is a man, and he could hurt you if he wanted to. Allow a man to be nice, to be kind, to be gentle. Get to know other communities, other cultures before you begin judging and laughing at other people. How insulting and how disrespectful. In Marie's profession, she's going to possibly meet or come across a lot of men from other cultures and other countries that are just as successful as she is. And so you have to be a cultured woman even in your personal life. What is wrong? What is wrong with y'all? That really got next to me, y'all, because oh, you're behaving as though you haven't been around other cultures. It was very disrespectful. It was distasteful. Y'all, some of y'all ladies need to do better and stop going to people's functions just to judge and be critical and gossip. Stay at home. Woo woo, pull over. Too much fun, too much fun. These two ladies right here were the main culprits, the fun police, and they were rude. They were rude. Letitia is scurrying around like she's trying to put out fires that don't exist. And Carrie is just as nosy and messy as they come. And Letitia, why you always bringing somebody new to someone's event and it wind up being a SHIT show, or that same person turns on you? Carrie's husband comes across as very humble and likable. And are they the only people that brought a gift while y'all in Marie's business? Carrie is already coming across as a bit of a mean girl. Very much so nice, nasty, condescending. Very much so. Because why did you refer to Martin as essentially the help? You thought she mentioned something that she thought he was a caterer when she saw him getting out of the car. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You just being nasty.